woman must be willing to give me any time I want it.
My fat is ready to get hard for you. Why would you call the cops on me? I have no experience speaking to females.
Elliot Roger killed 6 and injured 13.
I will slaughter every single girl, and that will make you all suffer.
What is an incel? Let me bust out my trusty dictionary. Incel is a term associated with a mostly online subculture of people, usually men, who define themselves as unable to find a romantic or sexual partner despite desiring one, and who may blame, objectify, and denigrate women as a result. So basically, you can't get laid. These people usually feel like they're incapable of human interaction because of their poor looks or their position in the unfair social hierarchy. The existence of incels has become more and more visible after disturbing hate crimes committed by self-proclaimed incels. The men committing these acts seem hell-bent on getting their revenge on women. But why is this? What leads young men down this destructive path? Why do incels seem to hate women, even though all they've ever wanted is to be with one? To answer these questions, we need to dive deep into the world of the incel. So there's a lot of different opinions on what an incel actually is. Some say in order to be an incel, you just have to be a virgin, while others purely associate incels with hating women. But I think it's beneficial for the video if we do our own research and see what the public has to say about what it truly means to be an incel. It's a short documentary about incels. Oh! Yeah, okay. By any chance, are you familiar with the term incel?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. How would you define incels?
Neck beard, very yes, parents'
basement. Okay, cool.
Very strong opinions about women.
Well, the actual term means involuntary celibate. Just gives off the vibe of somebody doesn't want to do them for many reasons, such as being a misogynist.
Also, never met a woman. Never been in the vicinity of a woman he's not related to.
And what are your guys' like overall thoughts about incels? Like, how do you view them?
Not great.
I'm not sure.
Dude, they can't enjoy things like they look at a video game and they'll be like, oh, there's a woman in a video game? It sucks.
So when I think about an incel, I think about that one guy who was famous for the school shooting. Like, you don't want to be associated by somebody who's an incel.
I hate him.
Okay, so I think it's safe to say that not only does the public associate incels with hatred for women, they also don't like them. Which honestly, it's hard to blame them after everything they've seen on the news. Ohio incel charged in alleged plot to commit mass shooting of women. Self-proclaimed incel who targeted women posted videos of his attacks on YouTube. 2 victims dead, 4 wounded after gunman opens fire, kills himself at Tallahassee yoga studio. And guess what? He was an incel. And definitely the most infamous of them all, the 2014 rampage, which left 14 injured and 6 dead at the hands of incel icon Elliot Roger. If you're not familiar with Elliot Roger, honestly, good for you. Before going on his mass murder spree, Roger wrote a 141-page manifesto detailing the reasons he would commit such heinous crimes. The reasons? Women. I mean, yeah, what else would it be? In his manifesto, Roger detailed his painful life of rejection and yearning for women who never wanted him. He got picked on a lot growing up as he was seen as an outcast and the weird, quiet kid. He mostly directed his anger towards the pretty blonde girls that chose the jocks over the magnificent specimen that he was. One of the most telling lines in his manifesto to me was, "The more lonely I felt, the more angry I became." Elliot Roger explained that his murder spree was the day of retribution and was excited to get his revenge on the world for the pain they had caused him and the sex they had deprived him of. Now you might be thinking, this Elliot Roger guy seems kinda insane. I mean, this is ridiculous. Surely even other incels would find his actions horrendous. Maybe he would even steer them in a different direction and make them improve their lives, right? Wrong. Elliot Roger has become somewhat of a legend in the incel community. Many view him as a martyr for the cause and call him the king of the incels. I'm not gonna lie, that's a crazy title to have. His actions have led to a strengthening of the black pill movement, an ideology held by many incels who have lost hope and believe that the sexual marketplace is rigged against them, and women are at fault for that. Many of the other violent crimes I listed were actually inspired by Roger's 2014 day of retribution. So yeah, it's really dark. To me, it seems like these guys are really mad at the world for the position they found themselves in. No matter how hard they try, to them it seems near impossible to make a genuine connection with a woman, let alone be able to have sex with one. And unfortunately, it seems like for a lot of them, that anger continues to fester with no real solution in sight. But is there something we're missing? I've seen a lot of content talking about incels and kind of just looking at them like an encaged zoo animal. Even in mainstream media, it seems like a lot of people are talking about incels, but nobody's offering any real solutions to these issues. So Sweeney, what's the solution to all of this? I don't know. I think in order for me to understand what's the correct path for these incels to escape this dangerous rabbit hole, I need to go down it myself. While doing some research, I came across this YouTuber, Decline. Decline is a self-proclaimed incel who is trying to rid himself of that title by documenting his gym journey. He believes in many core black pill values such as the rigged sexual marketplace, but he's attempting to beat the system by becoming attractive enough to escape inceldom. Decline has a small but dedicated fan base of, you guessed it, incels. A lot of them seem to take refuge in Decline's Discord server, which I joined. On the server, I found a decent amount of messages that seemed pretty critical to women and oftentimes degrading. But I will admit, a lot of the messages in the server were not as egregious or violent as the sentiments spoken by Elliot Rodger. In an effort to understand incels more, I got one of the server's most active members to agree to an interview with me. He's a self-proclaimed incel and his name is Josh. Yo. Oh yeah, I can hear you now. From what I've seen is that there's like a lot of different branching terms and even delegations within Black Pill. What are your viewpoints on it?
Black pillars tend to be hateful and quite angry towards the world. Understandably so. I mean, like a lot of this just primarily stems from a lack of a genetic advantage in the dating market, because when looks are pretty much everything in 2025, because these young men have been mistreated due to things they often can't change, they're just mad at the world, so they have a lot of, I suppose, anger.
And you yourself, you said that you don't necessarily agree with all of the views that the Black Pill community holds, but...
Well, it's not that I disagree with the Black Pill as a whole. I do believe in some of the fundamental beliefs of the Black Pill. I do believe that women have a lot of advantage in the dating market. I mean, if you're an average woman, you can install a dating app and you'll pretty much get sex guaranteed.
Something that you made clear to me within our initial messages is that you're not very privy to like the hatred towards women in the community.
No, a lot of these Black Pillars won't outright admit it, but they do contain embers of dislike and hatred towards women. It's not necessarily women's fault. If I was a woman, like, I mean, I'd probably sort of thrive off of the intention.
From your viewpoint, do you think there are any solutions to this?
The number one thing that gets in the way of an incel is their genetics. There's this term that they use, sub-5s. Sub-5s would be 4 out of 10s or below in terms of attractiveness, and the solution for them would probably be plastic surgery. I think plastic surgery for a lot of incels who are 4 out of 10 below might work, but I think most incels are just suffering a lot mentally. For the ones who actually need it, surgery. For the ones who don't, self-love and therapy.
Do you have any goals or hopes within your own journey?
Just to find a woman who loves me.
So it seems like some incels are a bit removed from the blatant misogyny that we associate them with. And this became more apparent the more I did research for this video. What I once thought to be a cohesive movement and community of sorts turned out to be far more disjointed and diverse. For example, there were Discord servers like Declines, which still definitely engage in misogyny, but it's not always as blatant or visceral as others. A day after interviewing Josh, I found another server that was honestly far more disturbing, not only in their hatred for women, but just in general. Not only did I find misogynistic messages that are honestly far too awful to show here, I also found a user with a swastika by his name who had a warning attached to his messages saying that he was under surveillance by the FBI for criminal activity. What? Anyways, I started communicating with one of the members I saw sending harmful messages about women in the chats. Surprisingly to me, he actually denied being an incel and also kind of seemed to hate them, even though the server that he was frequenting was a self-described incel server, which had 2 roles to pick from, incel and femcel. But whatever, I'll trust you, I guess. Maybe you don't actually hate women. You're just making weird, edgy jokes in a server violently associated with inceldom. So I went with that assumption. That is until I asked him if he's seen any incels partake in behavior harmful towards women, and he immediately proceeded to dox me and send my personal information to the server of 5,000 plus incels. What'd I do, bro? I was just trying to ask questions. So yeah, you can say that the concept of hating women is a surprisingly contentious one in the incel community. And it kind of makes sense when you think about it. I see inceldom as a slide. It's a slope that someone having issues with women can progress along the longer they stew in their negative emotions. You start here at the top. These are men who may be poor socially or have had bad luck in the romance department. They tend to have low self-esteem because of these things and have some warning signs for what may be to come. They decide to go down the slide a little bit more, and perhaps they officially describe themselves as an incel now. They spend a bit more time online and become enlightened to the corruption of the sexual marketplace and how it's unfair for guys like them. They haven't lost all hope though. Maybe they're still trying to make it out and start getting super into online remedies like looks maxing. A bit further down the slide and their issues turn into despair. They've officially determined that they are incapable of finding love, incapable of having sex, incapable of everything they believe they were destined to experience. In their mind, they are a loser, an outsider, and truly alone. They have accepted this as the state of the world, and they turn their anger towards women, blaming them for their shortcomings. It's women's fault for not loving them, and because of that, women have to pay. Which is what happens when these guys continue off the slide and fall off the deep end. It's a spectrum, but the truth is, at any point, you can get off the slide. Sure, the further along you go, the harder it may be, but it's not impossible. Which leads me into the next chapter of our journey. While doing more incel research, I came across this video. It was entitled "My Life as a Loser" and consisted of this 26-year-old woman complaining about her shortcomings in life. She called herself a virgin, a loser, and detailed her life of loneliness. She identified herself as a femcel, which, if you didn't know, is basically a female incel. Yes, women can be incels too. Anyways, it really seemed that this was rock bottom for her, and the video was uploaded a bit over a year ago. So I went to her channel to get more details, and to my extreme surprise, her life had made a drastic turn for the best. Not only was she doing more adventurous things in her life, she also moved to California and, wait for it, got engaged. Yes, within the span of 2 years, she went from hopeless loser incel to engaged with a brand new life ahead of her. So many of the incels I've been researching and talking to have seemed so hopeless of things ever getting better. And here, this woman was able to completely turn her life around from the same position they were all in. Honestly, her story really fascinates me. I just really wish I could know more. Wait, didn't she say she moved to California? I'm in California. Oh. Alright, so yeah, I contacted her and talked to her for a bit, and she's down for an interview. This is crazy. I don't know what's happening. I think she's probably the perfect person to talk to for the end of this video. I'm really looking forward to this conversation, and I think she will have a lot of knowledge for us to pick from. I don't know what I'm saying. Alright, let's do this. Here, yeah, and we'll be like kind of looking at each other so you don't have to look like directly into the sun.
I think this might be okay.
Okay, yeah. So as I was saying, I found you through a video that you posted a little over a year ago entitled "My Life as a Loser." And I'm curious, what in your life at that time kind of made you give yourself that title, and why did you post that video?
So I always kind of felt like an outcast. I was always very shy. I had trouble making friends, couldn't really get into a relationship. So I really just felt like a loser because of that.
After seeing your channel over the past year, it seems like your life has taken a pretty drastic turn.
Yes.
What changes have happened since then?
So I found confidence in myself. I really wanted to change my life. It's really hard to socialize when you're in person. If you have social anxiety like I did, it's really difficult. So I was online chatting with people, and I started to be a little better at communicating, and yeah.
And I obviously met your fantastic fiance over here. How did you guys meet?
Yeah, we met on Discord.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned to me that obviously you formally identify as a femcel,
mm-hmm.
and that you've spent some time around male incels throughout the years. As a woman, have you ever felt any friction or misogyny from incels?
I did. A lot of incels don't believe in femcels. They think they're the ones with the problem and that women don't have any trouble getting into relationships. But really, it could happen to anyone.
Why do you think they behave so poorly towards women?
They just have a lot of bitterness, and a lot of them feel hopeless. They feel like there's no way out of their situation, and they kind of take that out on women.
Did you ever feel a similar way when you were having issues of your own in your life? Did you ever harness either hatred towards men or women?
Unfortunately, yeah, I did. I started to dislike men. I felt like there was something wrong with them. Why don't they want to talk to me? Eventually, I healed from that, and I realized the problem, it was kind of me. I feel like my lack of confidence, and I wasn't willing to go go out there and meet enough guys. So really it was my own fault, and there was no reason to be so hateful.
What actions did you take that really propelled you to get out of that?
Honestly, the amount of pain that I was feeling from being so lonely, it kind of drove me to want to do something different. I just felt like I gotta do something. I don't want to feel lonely forever. I just kind of pushed myself, and sometimes you just have to do that. You gotta push yourself.
So you really just gotta keep talking to people, keep trying, even though like sometimes it feels kind of hard. Like you just really have to break through it.
You have to. Otherwise you're just gonna be stuck in that situation. You're gonna be miserable.
What advice would you give other incels to kind of try and get out of their situation? Obviously seeing that you're like a huge success story for that and how you turned your life around. How do you think they should do it?
Make friends and socialize as much as they can, and that'll help build their confidence up. And I really feel like they should try to meet their online friends in real life. Instead of just being on the internet, you can meet them on there first and then meet them in person. Those people, they're really lonely and they're struggling, and I think they shouldn't feel hopeless. There's always a chance for them to get out and to do things. And like I said earlier, they just gotta push themselves.
After a great conversation with my former femcel friend, it was time to reflect on our findings. That conversation and this entire video has honestly taught me a lot. When I was reading Elliot Rodgers' manifesto, I found a pretty oddly placed story. He talked about how when he was in elementary school, there was this card color changing system where everyone starts with a green card, but if you're bad, you get a yellow card, and then if you're still bad after that, a red card. He never thought he would have to change his card color, but it changed to yellow a few times for like minor things he did in class. Elliot said that because of this, he made a resolution that he would never have to be forced to change his card color again. He then continues on his life story, and that was that. So why was this in there? I think the colored cards are a perfect example of Elliot's quest for perfection and hyperfixation on getting what he wants. And this never-ending quest for perfection is something I see pretty commonly amongst other incels. I need to have a girlfriend. I need to have sex. Girls need to like me. They have to like me. If they don't, they're ruining my plans. And that's really unhealthy. Many of the spaces I was in just seemed to breed negativity until everyone in it just seemed to lose all hope. Listen, if you're an incel, you're not hopeless. Yes, every human is deserving of love, but just not in the way that most incels think of it. Love isn't supposed to be transactional. It's supposed to be compassionate. You're not an incel because you're ugly. You're an incel because your hatred is getting in the way. And that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. Forget about your fabricated sexual marketplace and find someone who loves you for you. Stop doing math on people's attractiveness and just be more open to talking to people and getting to know them. Go outside, go to the gym, make friends. And when that doesn't work, keep trying. If you keep at it, I promise you'll end up in a far better place than you are currently. The world can be a beautiful and accepting place if you have an open mind and keep working on yourself. So go do it, dang. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you to everyone for watching this video and to everyone who made this video possible. Whether it's the people I talked to or Tammy for helping me film it. Wave with the camera, Tammy. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. I'm posting silly videos like this all the time, so come join the family. Anyway, yeah, go have sex. Is that weird? Oh.